You know, it's been a lot of winners and losers in the NFL, but we're gonna go over the top that we're seeing in the NFL preseason right now because I'm seeing a lot of movement in the NFL for people that I didn't expect. A lot of people rebuilding, a lot of teams that starting new, a lot of teams that's trying to make a run for it, even with the new head coach or even with the new quarterback. Trying to see if we can all get it done.
Offseason is a time where teams try and improve their roster in order to win a Super Bowl. And obviously, with 32 NFL teams, there's going to be teams at different stages of competing. Some teams like the Los Angeles Rams, who have a 38-year-old quarterback coming off of an MVP season, are in win now mode and in theory should be pushing all of their chips to the center of the table to try and win what would be their second Super Bowl in 6 years.
Definitely.
And in today's video, we're going to break down the biggest winners and losers from the 2026 offseason. There will be both teams and individual players in today's video because some situations are significantly better than others from a player standpoint. Because there has been a lot that's transpired over the past few months, there is a lot to break down, and if you could like the video before we start, a football will appear when you do and would be very much appreciated. And with that preface out of the way, let's begin. And we are starting today's video by discussing the Tennessee Titans. The Titans had a very long 2025 season as they finished the year with a 3-14 record and were bottom 5 in the NFL in both points scored and points allowed per game.
Horrible team.
I didn't like the fact they brought back Brian Callahan to be the team's head coach in 2025, especially in Cam Ward's rookie season, because I didn't think there was anything positive about keeping him around for the 25 season based off of what we saw in 2024.
They were laughing.
The play was horrible, the team was incredibly undisciplined, and they played a very uninspiring brand of football.
Yeah, the Titans, the Browns, they were pretty much in the same boat this year. The Dolphins, they were fighting a little more than the Titans, but they were still in the same boat. There's a couple other teams, I can't think about the Jets, that were in the same boat. Like, those are the teams that just suck. There's nothing you can do. The head coach has to get fired, or if it's a new head coach, like, he has to get time to rebuild it. Like, the Jets need time to rebuild the culture. Miami has to fire their head coach. They had to get him out of there. You know what I'm saying? With the Browns, they had to fire their head coach too. That shit was abysmal. And then something that shit, it really gets people fired more times than not. Aaron Glenn was just in his first year, so he gets another year. He got a running back and a wide receiver, so maybe he can grind it out. But with the Titans, they have a quarterback, and they think they got a receiver in the draft, so they should be on good terms now.
And not surprisingly, it showed up in 2025 too. I think Cam Ward's rookie season is a year largely best forgotten, and I love the steps the Titans took this offseason, both on the offensive and defensive side of the football. They brought in Wan'Dale Robinson from the Giants and John Franklin Myers from the Broncos in free agency, and I thought JFM is one of the more under-recognized players in football for, well, several years now, and for him to go back to a team coached by Robert Saleh along with trading for Jermaine Johnson while already having Jeffrey Simmons on the defensive line, well, I love what the Titans are doing. They also drafted Carnell Tate, Keldrick Falk, and Anthony Hill Jr. in the first 2 rounds of the 2026 draft, and I think this is one of the most improved teams in football. And
not gonna lie to you, this is a pretty nice draft. Carnell Tate, Nick Singleton, Keldrick Falk, and they got Anthony Hill Jr. That's nice. I'm liking off those picks alone. I'm loving that draft. That's a nice ass draft. They got, when you think about it and put it in comparison with they got Wan'Dale Robinson and a new addition to the D line, that is a formula for success. The Titans will probably be on the up and up this year. I will agree with that because they already have a quarterback. See, the thing with the Browns, we don't know if Shedeur is a quarterback or who's a quarterback. So they're probably going to be in a worse position depending on how things shake. The Titans are good because Cam Ward's that guy.
Spring 2026. We did a video recently on the most improved teams and didn't include the Titans in that video, and one of the reasons for that was because maybe there was another video I had in mind to include them in. I've been waiting several years to say this about the Titans, but I genuinely think they are doing a lot of things the right way, and I couldn't be happier for the fan base. I also know there may be a crowd that thinks they overpaid for Wan'Dale Robinson, but when you look at the combination of him and Carnell Tate's salary, it's around an average annual value of $29.5 to $30 million over the next few years. And given number 1 receivers are north of $40 million, I think it's fine, and I can't wait to see the Titans play in 2026. The Washington Commanders also had a good offseason, as entering 2025, I was down on this team, and one of the biggest reasons I thought they were going to regress was the age of their roster combined with them playing the best football of the season when they needed it most the previous year. And of course, you have to credit them for doing so, especially a rookie quarterback in Jaden Daniels, going on the road to win not 1 but 2 playoff games, but I thought the regression in 2025 was kind of expected. expected, and in 2025, Washington did not have a great pass rush as they had 0 players with 50 or more pressures and could not consistently get after the quarterback.
I know,
so this
damn, that's
offseason,
bad.
they brought in Odafe Owe and Kayvon Chaisson in free agency, and also selected Joshua Josephs in the draft, who I thought was one of the bigger draft steals.
Nice rotation.
They also brought in tight end Chig Okonkwo to help out Jaden Daniels, corner Amik Robertson, and safety Nick Cross too.
That's actually, those are some nice pickups, not gonna lie to you. That should sew up that defense. If Jaden Daniels can stop getting hurt, I feel like he's just used to running, but he's been getting cracked since college. No diddy. He's been getting whacked since college. So he needs to stop running like, he needs to run with a purpose. You need to slide more and run with a purpose, man. Because you be running trying to figure it out. Now, you need to decide faster and get up out of there. And when you do need to run, stop trying to go for a home run every time, brother. Just slide.
One of my biggest concerns with Washington entering 2025 was that they had a considerably low floor, and unfortunately they also had to deal with several injuries too. They also drafted Sonny Styles in the first round and brought in Leo Chanel in free agency, and very quietly the Commanders have one of the better linebacker rooms in football. I will be fully transparent and say I do have questions about their running back and receiving room entering 2026, but I do think they raised the floor of the defense this offseason and absolutely deserve a spot in today's video.
Terry McLaurin,
another big winner from this offseason is Raiders quarterback Fernando Mendoza, and one of the biggest reasons that I think Fernando Mendoza is one of the biggest winners of this offseason is due to the NFL being a cyclical league. And a lot of the time whenever you hear that the NFL is a cyclical league, a lot of people refer to how the early 2000s was more of a run-based NFL or a heavier personnel NFL, and then we saw the rise of the pass in the 2010s, and obviously even in the 2000s, Peyton was winning MVP after MVP, and he had 49 touchdowns in 04, Tom had 50 touchdowns in 07, but then you look at the 2010s and the rise of guys like Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers, and how much more of a passing emphasis there was in the NFL in the 2010s.
Now, it's crazy that he has a point because passing and quarterback play has just evolved. The game has just evolved over the years. And I'm not trying to say they weren't slinging that rock back in the day because you had the greatest show on turf. You did have that. You did have the 49ers. Like, can't think of the name. You got Dan Marino. You got the person that was throwing to Jerry. They got 2 of them. You know, there were some people that were slinging that rock. Well, I feel like the 2010s has the quarterbacks we had with Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, just a lot more people, Matt Ryan. Like, they perfected the game of passing and perfected the art. I don't think, like, you know, we got people that are more athletic, but I feel like there's no better than Aaron Rodgers and, like, his generation
than there was compared to the 2000s. And the reason that I think that this makes Fernando Mendoza a winner is when you look at the development of rookie quarterbacks over the past several years, a lot of it has been basically, hey, we are going to throw you into the fire, good luck, and it's sink or swim. You're going to be going into a 12-foot pool with a lot of weight attached to you. Good luck. And in obviously some cases there's going to be more weight attached than others, and the weight here of course is based around the situation that quarterbacks had around them. But with the Raiders bringing in Kirk Cousins, with the plan they clearly have to sit Fernando Mendoza for at least the first couple of weeks of the 2026 season, if not most or maybe even all of the 2026 season, there is no pressure on Mendoza to not only compete for the job, but to perform right away. And I think that makes him a big winner because
that's perfect for him. And honestly, the Raiders are in a very unique position because they got a quarterback that's serviceable. They made some upgrades on the defense. They also did keep Max Crosby, so you always have that in your back pocket. And honestly, Ashton Jeanty is still that guy. So I feel like he's in a very unique position to win, and this is how you manage a quarterback. See, with Caleb Williams, his first year, I'm not going to lie, it was some dog shit. But that's why we got him right the second year. We had to fire the head coach, get everything together. And everything's been on the up and up since then. I feel like they got a good head coach, got the quarterback, manage him right. He's good. If he needed to come in and play, he can. But I don't, everybody's not going to stay in the same situation. Like with the Bears, I'm not, new regime. I got a high draft pick. I'm going to draft a quarterback. And I'm going to play him. I'm not going to pay another guy. It ended up wasting a lot of money sometimes, too. That's what happened in Falcons. And, it was kind of stupid.
also going to be going to a situation where Tyler Linderbaum is his starting center. And in terms of everything that's on a quarterback's plate when they get to the line of scrimmage, whether it's what the defensive line is doing pre-snap, whether they have 3 down linemen, 4 down linemen, or in a division with guys like Pat Surtain, Mansour Delane, or even a chess piece like Derwin James, what Derwin James is doing at the line of scrimmage pre-snap, why I like this situation for Fernando Mendoza is Tyler Linderbaum is going to be there in front of him to take something off of his plate, and that, of course, is going to be what the offensive line is doing. So whenever you have Tyler Linderbaum and Kirk Cousins in front of you, Kirk obviously on the depth chart, not out on the offensive line, of course, Kirk is going to be a good mentor for Fernando Mendoza. Say what you want about Kirk. Kirk is not a bad person in the aspect of, hey, I'm getting paid all this money. There's no way I'm going to help this guy out behind me.
Because Kirk and other people like Kirk in their position, they know what's going on. Like Baker Mayfield was one of those people, but I think he found his home with the Browns. Not the Browns, sorry, the Bucks. But Kirk is one of those people. He's a journeyman. Like he was kind of franchise guy with the Vikings, and that was it. You know, I feel like he's gonna try to make his mark, try to leave his mark for sure. But he's one of those guys, just a journeyman. He's not as bad as like Fitzpatrick, but he's a journeyman. But I feel like those teams have a good chance to make a lot of magic happen this year, especially if they just get the right offensive coordinator for some of them. Definitely can make some magic happen.